Hi, this is Ingrid Jensen, and I'm here with my mouthpiece now to talk about more ways to practice and to internalize the music so that you're free to improvise and take off and be you, be yourself when it's time to play. I think that's a really important element, especially in your early development, is to try to emulate the masters as much as you can, because where else are you going to get your reference point from? I grew up listening to Louis Armstrong. He was actually in my head when my mother gave birth to me. I was already still listening. I was already hearing Louis Armstrong because she had been dancing and singing the songs and playing things on the piano that were much in the style of early jazz. And I just thought that was like the normal music that everybody grew up with. I found out later wasn't so normal. And I kind of missed out on all the pop music of my generation because I was really, really listening to jazz. But I'm so thankful that I grew up with listening to standards, and my mother was playing the original lead sheets versions on piano, playing, as I mentioned earlier, Fats Waller's stride piano, and also a combination of beautiful classical music. She loved Chopin and Debussy and Rachmaninoff. And at the same time, me being a trumpet player, I was trying to figure out how to translate that to the instrument. So as many great trumpet players have told me over time, if you can't sing what it is you're about to play, and if you can't buzz it on your mouthpiece, it's going to come down to just technically pushing some buttons with not so much meaning behind it. And definitely less sound. That's the physics of it. If you're not feeling and hearing and living each note and practicing them, obviously in a slower sequence than you would when it's time to play, but with time, then they're not going to come out and there's going to be no connection. So growing up listening to swinging music, all I wanted to do was play some swinging music with a swing and rhythm section. And how in the world did that translate when I started to go back in my practice room was my first question. Like, how do I translate this desire to be improvising and swinging and dancing and playing ballads or playing different meters of music, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, yet I have to practice the trumpet. Because there are certain things on the trumpet, you just can't get away with it. Some guys, and girls, there's like a select few that can just pick it up and go. And I think there is a point you can get to later on in your development if you really eliminate bad habits of posture, slouching, and getting your air flowing right away. And in my case, because I was left-handed, I had to really learn how to keep my shoulders down and chin up and let the air flow rather than try and force the music out. So in combination with the good habits of practicing and music, I found that over time, the more I programmed these things into my meditation routine on a daily basis or every few days or in a 4-hour chunk or a 1-hour chunk, the more I felt like I was playing while I was practicing, not practicing while I'm practicing. This is a very important point, and I think it's something to really take into consideration when you're learning music, and if you're really into playing jazz especially, or live music that has a groove to it and involves any kind of improvisation, is to know that, yeah, you can practice as much as you want in your room on your own, but if you're not totally putting yourself in the headspace to play, when it's time to play, you're going to feel sort of off to the side or maybe not in the center of the music, and it's going to create a limitation that makes you think about, oh, I'm just playing the trumpet, I'm playing a technical instrument, I'm being technical. So for me, I never really, because I didn't practice classical, I didn't play classical music in the beginning of my career until later on when I realized, wow, playing etudes really is a good idea. And it makes me a better jazz musician, it makes me a better funk musician, it makes me better everything I do. I didn't really get into the technical side of things. So I had some great teachers. Lori Frink, who unfortunately recently passed away. She was the master teacher to hundreds and hundreds, thousands of trumpet players around the world. And I got lessons with her when I was in my early 20s in New York, here in New York. And it really did change my life, and it really helped me to transform the way that I warmed up, or really, actually, I don't even think of it as warming up anymore. I just think of it as kind of getting into the moment with whatever it is I'm into. So using subdivision using the mouthpiece and the lips and the horn eventually is something I think we all should definitely check into and do at some point.